Have you ever found yourself waking up at 3:00 a.m., unable to drift back to sleep, lying awake in the stillness of the night, staring at the ceiling? You may begin to wonder if something is wrong with your body or mind, but you're not alone. This early waking pattern is far more widespread than many realize. And it's not merely a quirk of aging or a random sleep habit. In this video, we'll delve into 5 compelling reasons why many people start waking up around 3:00 a.m. as they grow older, and what those early awakenings might actually be signaling. Each reason offers insight into your body's condition, your overall well-being, and the deeper changes that come with age. By the end of the video, you might just see your sleep and yourself from a new perspective. These explanations go far beyond the surface. They're grounded in real biological and psychological shifts that accompany aging factors most people are unaware of. We'll cover hormonal fluctuations, evolving sleep cycles, health concerns, and even the subtle emotional or social elements that could be affecting your rest without you realizing it. Our approach is clear, supportive, and respectful of everything you've experienced in life so far. So if waking up around 3:00 a.m. has left you puzzled, you're in the right place. Stay with us to the end. You might not only uncover how to rest more peacefully, but also gain a deeper appreciation of what your body is going through. Let's begin with the first reason: decreased melatonin levels. A key factor behind why older adults tend to wake during the night, particularly around 3:00 a.m., is a gradual decline in melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone that governs our circadian rhythm, often referred to as the body's internal clock. It plays an essential role in helping us fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. When you were younger, your body likely produced a healthy and consistent amount of melatonin, giving you long, uninterrupted periods of deep sleep. But as we age, melatonin levels naturally drop. This reduction can make it harder to maintain that deep sleep cycle. You might still fall asleep easily, especially after a busy day or a calming evening. But by the early morning hours, 2:00 a.m., 3:00 a.m., or even 4:00 a.m., your body may not have enough melatonin left to keep you asleep. Instead of being awakened by noise or a vivid dream, you may simply find yourself gradually returning to wakefulness, your brain no longer receiving the signals it needs to remain at rest. Begins the process of waking up prematurely. This isn't something you're doing wrong, nor is it a sign that your body is failing. It's simply a reflection of the natural biochemical changes that come with aging. To make matters more challenging, your bedroom setting can often amplify this effect. Even small sources of light, like a street lamp filtering through the window, the glow of a digital clock, or light spilling in from a hallway, can further reduce melatonin levels. As we get older, our bodies tend to become more reactive to these environmental cues, which can make waking up at 3:00 a.m. feel even more disruptive. Take Harold, for example. At 72, he's always considered himself someone who sleeps well. But recently, he's been waking up fully alert around 3:15 a.m. nearly every night. He doesn't feel anxious or distressed, just wide awake, as though his day is supposed to begin. Once Harold learned that this wasn't due to anything he was doing wrong, but rather a typical result of lowered melatonin tied to aging, he stopped blaming himself and started making small changes. He began darkening his bedroom more thoroughly, cut back on screen time an hour before bedtime, and added a short walk in the evening to help regulate his natural circadian rhythm. These subtle adjustments help reinforce to his body that it's still nighttime, and while he may still wake up early on occasion, he's learning to cooperate with his body rather than fight it. Understanding what's really happening can make all the difference. When you recognize that early wake-ups aren't personal failures but biological changes, it opens the door to better sleep strategies and a more compassionate approach to self-care. That's the power of insight. It transforms irritation into patience and encourages more thoughtful nighttime habits. Now, on to the second reason, a shifted sleep cycle, also known as advanced sleep phase. Another key factor behind early morning awakenings in older adults is the natural forward shift in the body's circadian timing. This condition, known as advanced sleep phase, means your internal clock begins nudging you to fall asleep earlier in the evening and consequently to wake up earlier in the morning. You might find yourself dozing off halfway through a late-night show or rising with the sun even on days when you wish you could sleep in. This shift isn't simply behavioral, it's a biological change that becomes more apparent with age. When you're younger, your sleep rhythm tends to support later bedtimes and waking hours that align closely with sunrise. But as the internal clock shifts forward, your ideal sleep window moves earlier as well. This transition can lead to more frequent early wake-ups, often around 3:00 a.m., that feel completely out of your control. You might find yourself drifting off by 9:00 p.m., or even earlier sometimes without even planning to. By the time 3:00 a.m. arrives, your body may have already completed a full sleep cycle. That's why you can feel fully alert in the middle of the night, as if you've had enough rest, even though it's still dark outside. But this doesn't indicate that anything is wrong with you. It simply shows that your internal schedule has shifted. Imagine it as a clock that's been gradually adjusted over time, ticking a little earlier with each passing season. While this change isn't harmful, it can feel inconvenient, especially when your lifestyle, household routine, or personal habits aren't in sync with this new rhythm. There's also a subtle psychological component to consider. As people age, they often find themselves in quieter environments or spending more time alone. Without the hustle and bustle of earlier years, the calm atmosphere can heighten the body's signals to begin winding down sooner. In the absence of noise, social interaction, or busy evening routines, the body prepares for rest much earlier. If you're no longer bound to a work schedule or daily obligations like commuting or meetings, your body starts relying more on internal cues. With fewer external time markers, your circadian rhythm may naturally shift forward even more. Let's take Charles. For example, at 68 and enjoying retirement, he usually eats dinner around 5:30 p.m., then watches a bit of television before heading to bed. He's often asleep by 9:00 p.m., and come 3:00 a.m., he's fully awake, not anxious or troubled, just alert and ready to start the day. Initially, he assumed this was a form of insomnia, but once he understood the concept of advanced sleep phase, he realized his sleep wasn't broken. It had just moved to a different timetable. Charles began making gentle adjustments to his evenings, reading under a soft light, taking a light stroll after dinner, and sometimes calling his daughter for a brief evening chat. These simple, social, and sensory changes helped stretch his evening routine, gradually shifting his sleep window later and reducing those very early wake-ups. The result? Fewer 3:00 a.m. awakenings and a sleep pattern that felt more in harmony with his daily life. This kind of shift in sleep timing is very common among older adults. Though it's rarely discussed openly, gaining insight into it can lift the burden of guilt or confusion and help you approach sleep with more empathy and understanding. So, if you're waking up around 3:00 a.m. feeling rested, your body may simply be operating on an earlier timetable. Once you recognize that, you can begin adjusting your habits in ways that support your overall well-being. If you've made it this far and these insights are resonating with you, leave a comment with the number 2 below. We'd love to know. You're still watching. If you haven't already subscribed, now's a great time to do so. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support allows us to keep bringing you helpful and thoughtful content to inform and inspire. Let's keep going. Number 3, Physical discomfort and health-related disturbances. Another common reason many older adults wake around 3:00 a.m. is due to the body reacting to discomfort or underlying health issues that tend to surface during the stillness of night. As we age, our risk of chronic health conditions or subtle ailments grows, and many of these issues interrupt sleep in quiet, almost unnoticeable ways. These disturbances often sneak in like stiffness in a joint, a full bladder, or a mild back spasm, and they're just enough to break your sleep. Take arthritis. For instance, it may not bother you when you first fall asleep, but after lying still for several hours, that steady ache can build to a point that wakes you up. For others, it might be acid reflux, particularly if dinner was eaten too late or you lay down too soon afterward. Even small irritations like muscle cramps, dry mouth, or a shift in room temperature can rouse you during these early hours. When your body's sensitivity is heightened and recovery time is slower than it once was, one of the most frequent physical reasons older men wake around 3:00 a.m. is the need to use the bathroom. As the bladder ages, it loses elasticity, causing urgency to increase, especially at night. You might barely notice it during the day thanks to distractions. But at 3:00 a.m., in a silent room, that urge becomes impossible to ignore. Once you're up and moving, even just for a quick trip to the bathroom, your body may already begin transitioning from deep sleep to alertness, making it much harder to slip back into restful slumber. There's also the impact of medications. Many older adults rely on prescriptions for managing blood pressure, heart conditions, pain, or other chronic concerns. But these meds can bring side effects like frequent urination, altered body temperature, or increased sensitivity to light and sound, all of which can subtly disrupt your sleep. You may not even realize a connection between your sleep disruptions and your medication until someone points it out or you begin keeping closer track of your habits. Take Ella Lehner, for example. At 76, she'd always considered herself a light sleeper. But recently, she noticed a consistent 3:30 a.m. wake-up pattern. For months, she assumed it was simply aging. Then she spoke with her doctor and discovered that one of her medications was slightly dehydrating her, causing more frequent bathroom trips at night. With her doctor's guidance, she adjusted when she took her medication, made a few lifestyle tweaks, and now finds herself waking up less often and falling back asleep more easily when she does. The key takeaway here is that physical wake-ups aren't a sign your body is breaking down. In fact, they can be a positive indicator your body is still communicating, reacting, and adapting. These nighttime signals can be seen as invitations to listen more closely, make healthier decisions, and strengthen your trust in your body's natural wisdom. Waking at 3:00 a.m. may seem like a nuisance, but it can also be a gentle prompt to check in with yourself and introduce small adjustments that lead to better sleep and improved overall wellness. Number 4, lifestyle patterns that gradually shift your sleep rhythm. Another important but often underestimated reason many older adults wake up at 3:00 a.m. lies in the impact of accumulated daily routines. Long-standing habits, though subtle, can gradually reset your internal sleep clock. Many people in their later years naturally shift toward earlier dinners, quieter evenings, and reduced daytime activity. These slight changes, over time, send cues to the body that bedtime is earlier, leading to earlier wake-up times as well. Once your days become more peaceful, especially after retirement, the external signals your body once relied on, like commuting, chores, or regular social interaction, begin to fade. Without those time markers, your sleep-wake cycle can start to advance. A calm, dimly lit home in the evening with little sensory input can cause the brain to release melatonin sooner, ushering in sleep well before you realize it's only 9:00 p.m. And when you go to bed earlier, your body completes its rest cycle earlier, leading to those pre-dawn awakenings, often right around dry 00 a.m. There's also a connection between when you eat and how well you sleep. Eating dinner earlier, while typically healthy, may sometimes result in a drop in blood sugar during the night. That drop might not feel like hunger, but it can still gently nudge your body out of sleep. Likewise, caffeine, especially when consumed in the early afternoon, can linger in the system longer than you expect, particularly as the metabolism slows with age. Even low levels of caffeine can lightly fragment sleep, increasing your sensitivity to small disturbances that might otherwise go unnoticed. Consider Walter, 74, and newly retired. His lifestyle shifted gradually. He started eating dinner at 00 a.m., nodding off during the evening news, and heading to bed well before 9:00 p.m. most nights. Slowly but surely, his whole routine crept forward by a few hours. Before long, he was waking at 3:00 a.m., confused as to why he was alert before even the birds had begun to stir. After reflecting on his habits, Walter decided to try a few small changes, taking a light walk in the late afternoon, reading under brighter lights in the evening, and skipping post-dinner naps. These minor shifts helped extend his natural sleep window, allowing his body to settle into a rhythm that better matched his preferred wake-up time. What's truly remarkable is how often we underestimate the influence of routine. Our bodies thrive on consistency daily cues that tell the brain when to wind down and when to wake up. When those cues fade or change, the internal clock can drift off course, leading to earlier bedtimes and disrupted rest. But by observing these patterns and making intentional changes, we can gently steer our body back toward a sleep cycle that feels more restful and in tune with our lives. If you're still watching and finding value in these insights, leave a comment with the number 4 below. I'd love to know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to do that and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Your support makes it possible for us to keep sharing content that informs and uplifts. Let's keep going. Number 5, emotional and psychological restlessness. Sometimes waking at 3:00 a.m. has less to do with your physical condition and more to do with what's going on mentally. As we grow older, emotional layers that were once hidden beneath the noise and activity of everyday life can start to rise to the surface during the quiet hours of the night. These early morning moments, when the world is calm and distractions are few, can become a time when buried thoughts, old regrets, or lingering questions begin to stir. You may find yourself awake not because of discomfort or sound, but because your mind is quietly working through memories, unresolved emotions, or gentle waves of unease you didn't know were still there. This type of restlessness is different from the sharper anxiety we might have felt in our younger years. It's softer, more introspective. It can feel like a quiet current in the background, a vague sense that something remains unfinished, even if you can't quite pinpoint it. When the mind isn't busy with daily tasks, it often turns inward, revisiting old relationships, missed opportunities, moments of loss, or words never spoken. And because the body is no longer in a rush, those reflections can echo more loudly than before. Loneliness can also play a quiet role here. For many older adults, social circles begin to shrink, children move away, close friends become less available, and familiar routines change. While the daylight hours may still bring warmth and activity, nightfall can magnify the emotional quiet and reveal a subtle longing for connection. This kind of loneliness isn't always intense. Sometimes, it's just a quiet desire to hear another voice, or a gentle ache for companionship in the stillness of the night. Consider someone like Gloria, 80 years old and widowed. During the day, she stays active tending to her garden, chatting with her grandchildren, and enjoying her favorite shows. But around dry 00 a.m., she often wakes with her thoughts drifting back to memories shared with her late husband, or to quiet worries she keeps tucked away during the busyness of the day. At first, she believes something must be wrong with her sleep, but over time, she realized those early morning awakenings weren't really about sleep. They were about her heart asking to be acknowledged. To support herself, Gloria started keeping a small notebook beside her bed. When she wakes, she sometimes jots down whatever's on her mind. Nothing elaborate, just a few simple, honest reflections. She also created a gentle nighttime ritual, like listening to soft music or writing a short message to a friend. These small moments of expression and connection gave her emotions space to breathe, helping to calm her thoughts and ease her back into restful sleep. The truth is, the human heart doesn't operate on a clock. It remembers what it needs to remember, reflects when it feels safe, and sometimes that process unfolds in the stillness of 300 a.m. That's not a problem, it's a sign of depth and emotional presence. If you find yourself waking and feeling introspective, it may be your inner wisdom asking to be noticed. You've lived through joys, losses, growth, and change, and those experiences don't just sit quietly. They shape who you are and sometimes speak up when the world around you grows quiet. Instead of viewing these wake-ups as a problem to fix, try meeting them with openness. What is your heart trying to say? What thoughts need to be voiced? What part of you is simply asking for kindness in the dark? Sometimes, the most healing kind of rest comes not from silencing these moments, but from giving them a gentle space to exist. Through that, you may not only find deeper sleep, but a deeper connection to yourself. Final thoughts. As we close this video, take a quiet moment to reflect. What spoke to you the most? Was it the shifting rhythm of your body's clock, the physical changes of aging, or perhaps something more emotional, an inner current that rises in the quiet? Each of these 5 insights offers a different way of understanding those early 300 a.m. wake-ups. And none of them suggest that anything is broken. In fact, they show how alive and responsive your body and mind still are adapting and communicating as you navigate this chapter of life. There's a quiet strength in understanding what your body is telling you, especially in those peaceful hours just before dawn. Instead of viewing 300 a.m. awakenings as annoyances, you might begin to recognize them as gentle messages, subtle reminders to pay closer attention to your needs, your routines, and your emotional well-being. You're far from alone in this experience, and you're certainly not the only one looking for answers. But with awareness comes empowerment, and with that empowerment comes the ability to make small but meaningful changes, ones that lead to deeper rest, greater comfort, and a stronger connection to your own natural rhythm. If today's insights felt familiar or hit home in any way, you know that what you're experiencing isn't just aging, it's growth. And with that growth comes a new opportunity to rest more intentionally, to treat yourself with more care, and to greet each new day with greater compassion and clarity. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share one thing that resonated with you or something you plan to apply in your own life. Your voice matters here, and we truly value every message you leave. Reading your feedback is one of the most motivating parts of our work. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel and consider sharing it with someone who might benefit from these ideas. Your support helps us continue to create thoughtful content that informs, uplifts, and connects. Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.